Go live. It should be live. Okay, awesome. We're live now. Yay, perfect. Well, thank you so much again, Christine, for being here today. I'm really excited to dive into everything related to branding and business success. I have so many questions for you, as I'm sure the community does too. So, for anyone tuning in, please feel free to drop your questions below as we go along, and I will monitor and ask them to Christine as we go along, as well as at the end. For anyone who's new here, maybe coming in from Instagram or another platform and checking us out, we are the Toronto Professional Women's Meetup Group. We meet about 4 to 6 times a year doing live networking and panel events, but due to everything that's going on, we've transitioned fully online, and now we're doing these Facebook Live interviews. I had actually planned one with Christine, like a branding type thing that I pushed back to 2021. So who knows, maybe we'll still do it when everything slows down a little
Hmm.
bit, and then we can talk about branding in 2021.
Yes, a
Yeah,
nice way to celebrate for sure.
exactly. But anyways, I'll take it over to Christine to introduce herself, and then we'll jump right into the questions.
Sure. Well, thank you so much, Christina, and to the community here. I'm so excited to be able to help you guys out during this very weird and uncertain time to navigate. So definitely, yeah, drop in your questions as they come up. Would be happy to help support you there. But otherwise, I have a design business called CL Designs, where I am a graphic designer who's traded in climbing the corporate ladder for climb mountains around the world. And I help lifestyle and social impact businesses realize their vision and connect with people most important to them through branding, web design, and social content creation, but really with the focus of a holistic brand 360 approach.
Wow, you really have your pitch down. I love it. I love it. I love it. For me, sometimes I'm like, okay, I do this and I do this, but I love that you know it.
It
So
feels really good. I think yeah, once you feel the right words come to you, I
yeah,
think it's just, you could do it in your sleep now.
yeah, so true, so true. So what is CL Designs exactly, and how did you get started? Because I know that you did this transition, like you said, from corporate into
Right.
more taking on like projects and going full time. So I'd love for you to like share that story with them.
I feel like there have been some things where they almost have found me in a sense. And so just to give some context to people, I have, yeah, the design business that focuses primarily on more social impact businesses and helping them with that three pillars of the branding aspect, the web design, and the social content creation. But the big difference between a lot of other maybe freelance designers that you've worked with or even agencies out there is you're not going to be treated like a number. Like in an agency, there's a lot of stuff going on there, or a freelancer that you just met online and maybe doesn't understand the challenges of a business owner like you and I do. And so that's kind of the really unique perspective that I bring in that sense. But also am the host of a podcast called the Brand Party Podcast, where Christina's on my second
Yeah.
season as well, which I'm really excited for. And so it's where my guests and I deliver fun, honest, to the point advice that you can implement right away in your entrepreneurial journey, no matter where you're at. But yeah, to give you a little bit more context of where I've come from, basically I started first business of a streetwear apparel brand actually about 8 years
Oh
ago
wow,
now.
I didn't even know.
Yeah, so that's a quick spin-off of my last name called In Lieu of. And so basically it was a very streetwear, bold, in your face kind of aesthetic, but at the time about 10 years ago it was very negative type quotes that were out there and didn't really resonate with me, so I
Oh,
switched the script on that and put out positive like quote branded graphics and stuff like this, and ran that for a few years. So that was kind of my first step into the entrepreneurial world, and from there kind of dove into startup culture and absolutely loved it, thinking that I actually wouldn't become my own boss again, because I got to work on that whole 360 thing of being able to market, to do research, to design, everything in between, without the responsibility of having it as my own baby. And then, you kind of find yourself with a quote unquote real job as you graduate. And so I had my bachelor's in graphic design from OCAD University and was hit with the real world in a sense, and ended up working for brands like Rogers Media Publishing, where I was able to help Walmart Live Better, their magazine, launch their social media channels, and was
wow.
nominated for, yeah, my work with Maclean's for their election edition for the Digital Publishing Award, and even NHL Sportsnet. And then my last job was at CBC Music.
Yeah,
So
I
it's
heard
kind
that.
of like my 16-year-old self dream job, if you asked me. But I worked as a graphic designer and also digital associate producer, being able to create illustrations, design content for social and web, but also getting to interview artists and doing event coverage for stuff like the Juno Awards in Vancouver. But
Wow, that's so
I,
cool.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And I've gotten to kind of pick pieces and experiences up along the way, but I was freelancing on and off for 5+ years at that point, and working like before work, sometimes at work,
Oh,
but
that life. Yeah. Using it
like
before work, after work, lunch break, like
exactly everything in between the sad desk lunches I'm very familiar with. And so it just wasn't sustainable. And having a series of health scares too, it just was really that aha moment for me to really decide that I needed something needed to change, and that I knew that there was something more out there for me. And also just in the mindset that you can come back to things as well if you feel like it. Like they will
yeah,
always be there if you're truly a talented hardworking person. I think that there's always going to be work out there for you, whether it is on that self-employed journey or an employment journey. Then it looks different for everybody, but that decision definitely came with a lot of guilt and shame and toxicity around me. So I don't, yeah, want to glamorize it in the sense that I took the leap all of a sudden and then,
right.
it was just all rainbows and sunshine, because it definitely wasn't.
Hard. You have to hustle a lot in the beginning, especially.
Yeah, but there is something to be said about once you kind of put your stake in the ground and really make that decision for yourself, there's so much magic that can happen. And travel was always sort of separate for me. And it was really that defining moment too, to figure out how could I integrate this as a lifestyle. And so the day that I actually gave my resignation letter in at CBC, I was also jetting off to Greece.
Wow.
So it was a lot of fun, because even at the beginning of my journey taking my business full time, I ended up living in Mexico for
I
about a
remember
month.
you traveling a lot. I remember we were talking about
Yeah.
Arizona, and I told you that I planned to go
Yes.
weeks, and you're like, that's a long time to plan a trip. I was like, what? You were traveling so much, right? So you were like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to the next place.
I've learned a lot from that process and journey as well, but basically getting to run my design business, starting off in Mexico and then Central America to Machu Picchu, and then like Europe and Arizona for my 1 year business anniversary. So it's thankfully taken me to a lot of different places and experiencing a lot of things and learning a lot of, yeah, big leaps and stuff along the way as well.
Well, it's great that you did all of that too, because now that we're in quarantine,
Yeah.
I feel the same way. Like I've traveled so much that I'm
Hmm.
okay. But if you haven't traveled in a long time, you really start to feel it. Like, oh, I just away. And everyone had trips planned for like March,
I
April at this
know.
time, so it is really tough. But yeah, it's just a transition.
Hmm.
Yes. So my other question for you is, in the branding space, I would definitely say you're a thought leader in that space,
Oh,
right?
thank
Like,
you.
well, all your graphics are so organized. You always have helpful tips. You're always, showing up on your stories. You're there, and you're engaging with your audience consistently. So why is right now such an important time to show up as a thought leader? Because some of us are thinking, well, I'll just take a break and kind of relax,
Right.
quarantine, right? So why would you
Mhm.
say now is the best time to show up?
Yeah, I definitely want to acknowledge too that it's okay to feel a variety of emotions right now. And
Yeah.
it's an incredibly emotional time that we're going through. And there's a lot of uncertainty in terms of how to navigate this. Like there is absolutely no rule book attached to it. And what you're experiencing right now is completely valid. So take a moment, pause, make sure you're good, and then come back stronger from it. I would say consistency is definitely key, and something that I'm probably a broken record saying as well. And you may personally feel like a broken record with the content that you're putting out there. But the reality is, there's so much media out, especially right now, whether it is the news or on social, whether you're on TikTok or
Yeah.
Instagram or Facebook or everywhere in between.
Yeah.
And so the likelihood is that people probably just aren't seeing everything that you're posting. And being able to take a little bit of pressure off that way is really helpful to get into that mindset. But don't take it personally, and just make sure that your branding in both messaging sense as well as how you're communicating those values is really matching synergistically with what you're putting out visually, because once that happens, it's a winning combination. So it also means that if your branding and social strategy is to post, say, 2 times a week consistently, then do that. It's better than, say, showing up for 7 days straight and then totally falling off for a whole month. And so give yourself some grace, give yourself some ease. And the harsh reality is, if you aren't showing up, people like they don't know that you're there. And
Yeah.
so it's a really defining moment, especially during this time. It will either make or break it. And your community really does need you and wants to support you and to see leadership in these times of uncertainty and help guide them through whatever they might be experiencing or being challenged by. So if you feel weird, especially as well with this hot topic of selling right now, I think just
I keep
getting
hearing it in the group.
right.
A lot of women are saying they don't know how to price and they don't know where to, yeah.
It's a big thing, and it's not an overnight thing as well. I think being able to make these choices day in and day out is really going to help practice that sense of
Yeah.
resilience with it. But come back to what feels good to you and bring back those intentions, I think will really help as well to share those values. And at the end of the day, what is it that you're really helping people with and supporting them with, versus if you feel a little bit weird about it, maybe you need to revisit why you're telling yourself this and getting worked up about it, because then it is going to feel really weird about selling.
Right.
But get really realistic at the end of the day to those strong foundations of your brand pillars as well, whether that is for content or even your like font pairings or your color palette rather. Those will really help build that strong foundation that you need, whether you are DIYing it yourself or you need to hire an expert at this stage. Then having that clarified will really help reduce that overwhelm and decision fatigue that you're feeling. And this way you can actually spend your time engaging with your community and building that retention and that like no trust factor too.
So true. Yeah. And I love when you started off by saying, don't feel like you just have to jump and do it all right now. Like it's okay to rest, because
Yeah.
I know when this all started, I had to take 2 weeks off, like
Hmm.
not on social media, not talking to anyone. I'm like, I just need to chill out and like think about, like, I lost all my clients, right? So
Yeah.
where do I go from here? And then I took those 2 weeks off and now I feel a lot more confident. But I mean, we still have our ups and downs. Like
Hmm.
there's a lot of feelings of, I don't know what's going to happen next. I can't predict 3 months out. So yeah, I
Yeah.
really love what you said, and the tips are great too. Do you have any other tips specifically related to like branding and social media for someone specifically who's just getting started? Because we also have a lot of people in the group who are
Mm.
now just starting to have this presence on their social media.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great time, I think, to test things out right now as well, because
Yeah.
there's so much eyeballs on there. And so it's almost like throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks in a way, but with intention, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So if you are curious about a certain look and feel, maybe some like graphic elements, like I know you have some of those floral elements in your promotional posts and stuff
Yeah.
like that, like test things like that out and see what resonates with people. Like, especially if they do come regularly to events like this, for example, like ask them if what they like about it, maybe what they would like to see more of. I think this is a great time. People want to have connections as well. So
Yeah.
making sure that people feel valued in their opinion as well and being part of the process, I think is really important.
So true. Yeah. And the florals, I was like, it's spring. It's a nice time to try. I was like, let's
Yeah,
see what
exactly.
happens. But it looks good. So I'm like, I'll just stick with it for now until spring's over. Then we'll do some new colors. Awesome. Okay. So my next question is going now into your
Mm.
concept of a brand 360. So could you start by explaining what a brand 360 is?
Sure. So the way that I look at a brand 360 is it really encompasses that holistic approach to a brand identity. So whether your client or customer approaches you from your brand from a touch sense or to digital, it's all about creating that big picture. So for me, it's very human centric also, meaning that it really stems from the need of people. And the way that I explain it to my audience typically is that whether someone finds you on social, to your website, to in person, that say your events that you typically do, or even on a podcast or like this live that we're doing now, you want to ensure that there's consistency and familiarity with your audience.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. That's really important too. And so how does, doing a whole brand 360, how would that contribute to a business's success, especially in a time like this one?
Mhm.
That would help.
I think when people are craving connection more than anything right now, that
Yeah.
disconnection when you have that first impression is really jarring sometimes. So they can feel disconnected and they're not going to trust you or your brand. So that really hinders on your brand awareness, your loyalty, your retention, and conversions as well. So basically, it really affects you leaving money on the table at the end of the day and reaching those dream clients that you're looking to attract.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a
Yeah.
lot. Like sales, you're everything basically.
Mhm.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, that's really good to know. And then my next question that kind of feeds into that is, can you share with us some examples of how clients you've worked with have had success after improving their branding, whether that's
Yeah.
like, increasing their social media followings or getting more sales, closing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll share a screen with you too. I can like share visually what it looks like to give a sense of like what we're working with, as well as to just give some context to it.
Oh, that'd be really cool.
Yeah. Let's see here. Okay, everybody can see all right?
Mhm.
Amazing. So yeah, Trisha, I have three examples
I
for
don't know
different case
if
scenarios.
the show. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay, I want to
Yeah.
make sure it's showing on our live too. Okay,
Okay,
perfect.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Trisha from Your Favorite Dresses, she definitely was going through a lot of analysis paralysis and like a lot of comparison game with her competitors and just getting in her own way. And so when we basically helped clarify what that looked like for her brand to make sure that she was communicating those core values and that really welcoming approach that she has with her process and her clients as well, she has this unshakable confidence now that if you know Trisha, it beams from like ear to ear. She's just smiling so proud, and it's just the best feeling ever. So I mean, especially when you're quote unquote selling, I think you need that confidence and pride of what you're really supporting your clients with, as well, because that's going to really resonate with them. If you're not confident of what you're putting out there, it really does reflect it, and people can tell at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, I agree. That's beautiful. That
Oh,
was like
thank you.
Arizona. Or, yeah.
Yeah, so this one was inspired by Arizona,
Yeah.
actually. Yeah. But Laurel, she's from Wild Wandering Creations. And so, especially right now where we're in pandemic mode and a lot of studios are closing, being able to just help her with her clarity on what exactly should the content look like and have tools and resources to back her up so that she can engage with her community and really pivot swiftly so that, from a traditional in studio or physical space, that you're able to bring it online now and still share that same experience that you're looking for. So she's really, yeah, taking it head on and be able to emulate the exact vision that she was looking for and focus on things that she never even really considered. So when you have tools and resources to back you up, there's nothing really stopping you.
It's so true. Like you just feel confident overall, even just showing up and putting out content when you have something that looks like this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And this is
And
really
I,
calm too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So
I
you
like,
want to bring that emotional connection, I think, with your branding, right? And that's,
yeah.
I think, where the core values and that emotional connection of, say, mood boards and stuff like this really help dictate that and convey it to your audience, especially if they're scrolling really quickly. You want to grab that attention, right?
Right.
But the last one I'll share with you is Elia Francis. She's a social selling guru. She has her LinkedIn challenge out right now, too. And
Oh,
so,
yes. Yes. I
right?
connected with her recently. Yeah. Through
Yeah, from Our Little Venice and stuff like that,
wow.
is her other business. But yeah, she came to me originally very scattered as well. She wanted to focus more time on spending it with her family, and she has the most adorable baby ever. But when your time is stretched and you're a solopreneur, it's really difficult, right? When you don't
Yeah.
have those things backing you up, and you have to write the captions and design all the posts and then engage with people, and the list is just never ending.
Yeah.
So when you're able to just have something as your no fail, for example, like these social templates, it really helps you focus on the things that are going to move the needle forward for you, and again give you back that time and reduce that marketing spend in the future when you're able to invest in your time and energy upfront like this, so that
Right.
you can, yeah, really utilize that properly.
That's really cool. So with this package, they would get, I guess, the colors and the hex codes,
Mhm.
as well as like templates that they could use for, like that's where it says quote, right?
Yeah, exactly. So she's used this even to repurpose. So if anybody's familiar with Canva, for example, if you have the upgraded version, it's really amazing in the sense that, first of all, you don't need to invest with the high ticket price of Adobe Creative Suite like I do. But it's really accessible, and it's really amazing in the fact that once you have these templates, for example, like the social templates that you see here for the highlight icons and the social feed, you can literally repurpose the size as well to say for Facebook, for your email newsletter, your website,
Oh, that's
everything in
great.
between. So your marketing spend is like literally going to go down once you have these resources, because you just have to typically do them once and then maybe rejig a little bit. But from there, it cuts down your like designing time at least in half, if not more.
That's really cool. And then, so on the topic of a brand 360, would you say there's like a best time to do it in your business?
I mean, right now, a lot of the clients that I've worked with too have expressed a lot more time, obviously, at home, being able to focus on their business versus in it,
Right.
depending on what industry you're in, mind you. But I think if you're feeling a little bit misaligned in the sense of whether it's your audience has changed potentially, you are struggling with increasing your prices, or you feel like the type of like the way that you're being perceived is maybe not aligned with what you want to be attracting, then I think those are kind of three things to kind of consider whether it is time to rebrand or to even just tweak what you currently have,
Right.
to make sure that it's reflective of, yeah, what you're looking for right now.
Right. Yeah, that totally makes sense. And now is a great time. Like you said,
Hmm.
having the downtime. A lot of people are doing launches. Like I
Yeah.
myself am working on launches some new things. So it's just good to have that all in place before you start setting
Hmm.
up everything. Because like you said, when you have those in place, it just that trust factor also goes up.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's amazing. And then my last question for you is, do
Mhm.
you have any offers, anything you're working on that you wanted to share with the group?
Yeah, well, actually, I guess there are two things. So if you are interested in something like those three case studies that I just showed you as well, like I do have brand kits, which basically encompass your full suite of logo, color palette, font pairing, mood board, and all those social templates and highlight icons. So if you want one quick click to launch in less than 24 hours, then that's available and editable in Canva as well. So once it's off the market, nobody has one exactly like
Oh,
you.
that's
So
great.
yeah, that way you're working with something unique, so you don't need to worry about paying for custom at a custom price per se, uh,
Right.
even though that option is available as well. But this is really accessible in that sense if you're looking to pivot quickly, especially. But otherwise, I'm launching a brand accelerator and
Oh, no
early birds.
way. That's
Yeah, so
so
really
exciting.
exciting. And early birds are launching on May 11th, so that's a Monday. But we kick off the accelerator on the 18th. So basically, it's a 5-day branding accelerator for business owners who are looking to stop being inconsistent and build the brand that you're truly deserving of. So we'll be diving into different exercises with that brand clarity in mind. So helping you dive into your core values, your color palette, your mood board, and really you'll also get access to a 30-minute masterclass to teach you the 3 C's method. So everything from clarity, consistency, conversions to really bring those brand assets together and develop habits and systems in your business so you can really get efficient and save yourself time and money. Like who doesn't want that?
That's
And
incredible.
right, I'm all about being efficient so that you're saving
Yeah,
yourself
it's
and
true you
focusing
are.
on the things that actually matter. Because you want time to celebrate and spend time with your loved ones as well, and I totally get
Exactly.
that, right? But you'll also get accountability and access to a branding expert in the Facebook group with other business owners who just understand the struggles that you're going through. So come as you are. The community is no BS. It's incredibly supportive. And wherever you are in your branding journey, whether you're starting from scratch and overwhelmed or you're looking to realign and rebrand, it's all for you.
That's amazing. I'm definitely going to recommend that to a bunch of people that I'm working with
Thanks.
right now because I think
Yeah.
everyone's starting to change their offerings or launch something
Mm,
new. So it is a really great time.
yeah.
Yeah, and it sounds incredible. So yeah, I'll definitely
Thanks.
check it out too. I think it'd be really helpful. I'm just gonna double check if we have any questions. I
Yeah,
don't
absolutely.
think anything came in, not yet, but that's okay because the
Yeah.
replay's gonna be up. So of course, if anyone has questions for you, they can just drop them below
Yeah.
and I'll send them over to you, or they can connect with you through your email or Instagram. I'll link all of that. But aside from that, I've loved chatting with you and all of this. I've already learned so much just from this like short conversation that we've had. I've already learned a bunch. So I think it'll be really valuable for the group too. So thank you again for being here and for sharing all of that.
Yeah. Thanks, Christina. Thanks to the
So
community as well. I hope everybody, yeah, has a lovely day.
thanks, Christine. Okay, have a good rest of your evening.
You too.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.